I traveled to Berkeley, California for the 2023 Pride Paw-rade hosted by the Berkeley Humane Society. I wanted to see what was on people's minds about the current issues of the LGBTQ community and also see some doggies. Look at that doggy. Look at this dog. Look at this fucking dog. It's adorable. Good. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm a huge fan of the Berkeley Humane Society. I actually work at Berkeley Animal Care Services as a volunteer. So I wanted to come out here and check out all the adorable dogs.
They are very adorable.
They're so cute.
And what does Pride mean to you?
Oh, I mean, Pride was a riot. I'm a huge proponent of that.
Yep.
I dressed in 70s because that's really where Pride came to be. And I think it's important for us to acknowledge our roots while still fighting for the future.
And what do you think about all these anti-LGBT laws that's passing across the country, especially in Florida?
Well, I think there's sort of a pendulum that swings, right? And we're in that shitty side of this pendulum right now. But I'm hoping that we can begin to demonstrate, or continue really to demonstrate, that queer people are people like everybody else, and you might not agree with like the fringe elements of some of the queer community, but you know what? We don't always agree with the fringe elements of the Christian community, so we all just gotta deal with that.
Today is bumping. We have music, we have the LGBT community out here, we have doggies, we have everything. Let's go.
I think we're out here just celebrating today. Our puppies, Pride. I think there's been, a lot of, it's kind of hard to celebrate some things, especially with recent legislation, especially in various states and regions in the U.S. as well as worldwide.
More than 500 bills restricting the rights of LGBTQ plus people have been introduced across the country this year. 77 of those bills have been passed, impacting education and healthcare.
I think that this comes from a place of fear, right? It comes from a place of not knowing anybody queer, not knowing anybody on the trans spectrum, and being afraid of that which is different. And I think that that's a really sad way to live. I think trying to erase parts of our history that maybe you don't like, there's parts of my history that I don't like either, Like, I don't like the way that the United States was founded on imperialism, but that's important to teach people.
Yeah. What do you think about the anti-LGBT laws that's happening around the nation, especially in Florida?
It's terrifying. We're very lucky here in California and the Bay Area especially, but, I think it's a terrifying tide of, perspective that's shifting, but the optimist in me believes that it's also the death rattle of this kind of phase of bigotry, and bigots are clinging on to the last thing that they can, and just like many times where they vilified any number of people in the past, this is just the next phase of that, and those have passed, and I hope that these will pass too. And I know, especially I think considering how many young people are, I think, on the right side of history and having the perspective of being an inclusive society, that we will overcome this, but it is a terrifying moment for sure.
We have competition, everyone. Okay, we have some professional news stations here. They don't know what news is. S.O.S. News knows what news is.
They left.
Good, they're leaving. They should leave. Fake news. I want to look directly into the lens, right? And give a message to all the queer people out there who are kind of afraid to come out, especially those in those red states that they're being, kind of persecuted.
You know what I want to say to all queer people in red states, all trans people in red states, us on the coast, we've kind of failed you, and we need to acknowledge that you guys are fighting a way harder fight, and we need to have your backs. And so what I want to say to you is, I have your back.
That's Texas, where protests have done nothing to deter lawmakers. Putting a ban on gender-affirming care for young people is the focus for the latest legislation there. At least 18 states have similar bans or restrictions in place. Much like abortion access, the issue marks the deep partisan political divide in the United States.
I mean, it's disgraceful, obviously. Like, queer people of all kinds have existed forever, so for people to deny existence and deny people's rights, unacceptable.
After marriage equality happened in the Supreme Court, a lot of mainstream media has kind of declared like gay rights as like over, like we did it, check mark and done. And obviously that's maybe lasted 10 years of even like vague corporate pride support, which isn't true equality. So obviously those things are disgusting and not to excuse it, but it's obviously scapegoating to find, I don't know, someone to blame for children being harmed other than the people that are actually harming children.
Right, and I mean, not focusing on real issues, right? There's plenty of things, right, to work on, like homelessness, like poverty, all these issues.
A single health care would be nice.
Literally anything, mental health, so many things. So,
School shootings.
yeah, like please focus on that. Do your job.
Yeah.
Banning school books has quickly become one of the divisive debates in some California communities.
Yeah, some school boards facing intense pressure now to remove books and eliminate lesson plans that discuss race or sexual orientation.
An ugly scene playing out at the Temecula Valley School Board meeting as the board voted 3-2 to reject an elementary school social studies book which contained information about pioneering gay rights figure Harvey Milk. The board's president making this baseless accusation about Milk before voting to ban the book.
Yeah, my question is why even mention a pedophile?
He's not a pedophile.
I beg to differ.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now, another way that conservatives, or rather anti-LGBT people, are attacking the community is banning books that reference any existence of gay people to kids or even teenagers. Opinions about that?
I think that's totally wrong. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and we did not learn the truth about our history. I feel really gypped. Like, I feel like I haven't been educated properly. And so if we're doing this to our children right now, I mean, that's just, it's a disservice to our future generations. And you know, how can we become better people, better human beings to each other? How can we become a better society if we withhold important information? Don't lose hope, because you're not alone, because there's so many of us across the world. You know, we are your family, and we're there. I mean, even if we're in a different state, you know, we're all supportive, and anything we can do to support you in another state, whether it's protesting, writing to our Congress people, voting, whatever you name it, you know, we're there. We're here as a community to support everybody, whether you're in a red state or in our state or a different country across the world.
Who do we have here?
Cosmo.
Cosmo?
Cosmo.
Yeah.
I love it. Hi, Cosmo. What do you think? What do you think about the anti-LGBT laws?
What do you think?